has made it 1-1.
Switzerland's late penalty stunned England and threw Group A wide open. Now Scotland take the field looking to reward their loyal band of fans with a positive start against the Dutch.
There's no fear, the boys are just raring to go. And come 4:30, you know, they're talking, we'll have to stop and we'll have to produce a good performance.
We've got to take any chances that come our way. And if we do that, hopefully we'll have a wee chance of getting a result.
There's no point in being frightened. We'll give them all the respect they're due. They are a very good team, but we'll give it a good shot.
The lads are chapping at the bit a little now and basically just want the whistle to go. We want to get at the Dutch.
Live from Villa Park this afternoon, the Netherlands against Scotland, a vital game, not just for the Scots, but also for the prospects of England as the Group A picture begins to take shape. Yes, hello, welcome to Villa Park, festooned in tartan and orange, as two of the best supported teams in Euro 96 meet in their opening game of the tournament. They are, of course, the other two teams in England's group, so that opening draw against Switzerland by England at Wembley means that a victory for either side here today could be a launching pad into the quarter-finals. Now, joining me to discuss the game are two rather partisan Scots, Alex Ferguson and Ian St John. And for a bit of a balance, the next England manager, Glenn Hoddle. Gentlemen, do we feel optimistic about Scotland's chances today? Alex, first?
Well, I didn't a few weeks ago, but as the game gets so near it, the blood starts to curdle in them. I think Scotland will do well.
Are you nervous?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Ian?
Well, you can't be here and not be a bit nervous. The atmosphere is fantastic out there. I mean, the Dutch fans, there's so many of them, and you know, they're really enjoying themselves. We've got a good support down as well from Scotland. So
you'd expect
the
that.
atmosphere, well, the atmosphere will be great, and you can never tell on the day. It's a cup tie, never tell on the day.
Oh, now, Glenn.
Well, I mean, you know, surrounded by Scotsmen, I've got to go for Holland. I'm going for the Dutch. No, I really seriously think Scotland have got a good opportunity today because of the individuals that are out in the Dutch side. They're missing a few, and it's a great chance for Scotland today.
Let's have a look at the Scottish team. This is the team we believe will play, almost certainly play, in fact. And Alex, just lead us through this Scottish team here.
Yeah, well, I feel they're going to play the back four, and I think that's the correct thing to do.
Rather than back three?
Yes, well, they're going to have 3 against 1 with Bergkamp through in his own, because the Dutch will play the two wide players of Torment and Cruyff. So Craig has obviously opted to go the back four. McKimmie and Boyd will operate against their two wide players, and Caldwood or Henry will take Bergkamp wherever he goes. In the midfield, I think that McCall will sit in front of the back four rather than the right-hand side, and McAllister and Collins will be the main thrust from midfield. But the interesting thing for me will be Gallagher. I think he'll play wide right and try and stretch the Dutch back players, who will play a 3, as you know.
OK, well, it is very much Holland clear favourites against the Scots, cast as underdogs yet again. But if we look at Scotland's record in major championships, it doesn't make too pleasant reading. This is only the second time they've qualified for the final stages of the European Championship. And in Sweden 4 years ago, they went out in the first round. In World Cups, it's a similar story. 7 times they've got through, but never made it past round 1. They qualified, by the way, in second place behind Russia, ahead of Greece, in what you'd have to say wasn't one of the toughest groups, Group 8. But as for Holland, well, they are previous winners of the European Championship, that famous Hullet, Rijkaard, Van Basten side of 1988. And they were also beaten in the semi-finals in 92 by the eventual winners, Denmark. They were twice runners-up in the World Cup. That was in '74 in the Johan Cruyff era, and again 4 years later without Cruyff. They qualified, as I'm sure you'll recall, at the expense of Jack Charlton's Republic of Ireland, and it was only really after that memorable performance at Anfield, I think, gentlemen, that people started talking about the Dutch as possible champions of this tournament, Ian. Well, it was a one-off performance.
I was at that game, and they were immense on the night, and they played a brand of football that was really appreciated, I think, by a British audience, and everybody applauded them for that, and of course that has got the interest going. But as you know, over the years, well, they've had great teams, you know, the 74 team, the 78 team that we beat, and don't forget, we beat them in Argentina, and they got to the final. So the Scots have got not a bad record against Holland.
Glenn, the Netherlands team we perhaps have a look at here. This is how we believe that it has very much, obviously, an Ajax look about it, doesn't it? But young, I think Alex mentioned, Jordi Cruyff out there wide on the left.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that that's his natural position, but they'll certainly play with that same shape that the Ajax have played with, and that the Dutch side have now certainly against Era when they beat them, will play. I'm not so sure Bergkamp will be happy up front. If he plays right up, he doesn't really like that position. He prefers to come from in the hole, just off the front. But with the lad Clevert out, Danny Blink out, suspended, Frank de Boer as well, I think it's a good opportunity for Scotland, as I said.
Danny Blind being the key man missing, really, isn't it, Alex? Danny Blind, who's so influential for...
His experience is vital for them, really, and I think they'll probably settle David's in there doing Danny Blind's role, and they may end up in the back.
Reversing the role.
If Gallagher plays wide right, then I think Davids will be forced in towards the back two players.
This game is not just vital for the two teams on the park this afternoon, but also for England. And joining us now from the England Hotel in Buckinghamshire are the Neville brothers, Gary and Phil. Good afternoon to you, lads.
Afternoon.
I want to know, Gary, what's going to be the best result for England from here this afternoon?
I think maybe if, in view of our result on Saturday, a draw would be a good result, and everything would be equal, and we could start again, if you like, and get a good result against Scotland next Saturday.
So you're looking really, you would quite like it to be a draw?
I think so, yeah. I think that would make it all equal again.
Phil, what about you? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think the best result for us is a draw, but I fancy Scotland to do something today with the players that the Dutch are missing.
One thing you don't need, obviously, Phil, you don't need a Scottish victory, do you? Because with Scotland at Wembley on Saturday, and then, of course, it would mean England having to beat the Dutch in that last game. You don't want that, do you?
No, it's going to be two hard games coming up, and we don't want Scotland to win today, and hopefully it'll be a draw.
Just briefly, Gary, are you over the disappointment of that opening performance?
Yeah, I think so. I think we have to be, obviously disappointed when you come off the pitch, but you have to get over that disappointment now, and there's still a long way to go.
OK, thank you for the moment. We'll join you again at half-time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, back here at Villa Park, the seconds are ticking away to kick off, and every Scottish pulse is beginning to race. After the break, we'll be back with Holland-Scotland, the whole game live, only here on ITV. Welcome back to Villa Park. We're just minutes away now from kick-off between the Netherlands and Scotland, the second game in Group A. The atmosphere is absolutely brilliant here at the Holt End. Scottish fans, that is quite a sight here in St John, isn't it?
Oh, wonderful. The Scots fans were a little bit late coming in, whether there's been trouble on the motorways or whether the pubs have been slow serving, I don't know, but they're in now. And they've got the whole end there. But isn't it wonderful that they're mixed with the Dutch fans as well, Bob? And that's what this championship should be about. Fans mingling and really enjoying the occasion.
Can we ever read anything much into these players when they come out? Do you think people look at home and... I mean, I always look for nervous tension in players, Alex.
Well, I think that some people's mask it quite well, but I think they'll all have a little bit of nerves. They want the game to start. They want to get their first touch of the ball. And of course the Dutch will be insisting they get a hold of that ball immediately because that's what they're famed for.
And are you going to give me a result for here? Are you going to go for one?
Well, I think Scotland will do well. I think Holland, it's hard to go against them because you're going against a system that's been operating for years now. Right,
Glenn, your view on this game, little final view?
Yeah, I just feel that Andy Gorham could have a very big influence on the game. He's got to play well. He normally plays well in the big occasions. And if Gary McAllister can really run the midfield, then Scotland have got a bit of a chance.
Are you saying they're going to win?
I think Holland will win 2-1.
Thank you, Glenn. Quickly in, just
a draw is as good as we can get, I think. Being realistic.
A draw, OK. All right. National anthems. Okay, wonderful atmosphere here at Villa Park. Let's join our commentary team, and that comprises today the Coventry City former Aston Villa manager Ron Atkinson, but first Alan Parry.
Well, the football world has written off Scotland as no hopers in these championships, but never discount what pride and patriotism can do for these men in blue jerseys. Scotland may be short on skill and star men, but they're not lacking in raw commitment. Here's Holland's team. Danny Blind suspended and Frank de Boer injured. The coach Gus Hiddink says he's lost the core of his defence and admits it's a major blow. Their places taken by Johan de Kock and Edgar Davids, who Holland would have preferred to be in midfield. And it also means that Arsenal's Dennis Bergkamp is forced to play as a conventional striker, a role that he doesn't enjoy. 4 of the team play for Ajax, another 4 of them used to. But as you've heard, Scotland's real selection dilemma was who to play in goal. And Rangers' Andy Gorham gets the vote over Jim Leighton. The team built around the traditional power base of Rangers and Celtic, and 6 players with English connections. Calderwood of Spurs, Hendry and Gallagher of Blackburn, McAllister Leeds, plus McCall, who used to play for Everton, and Gorham, once of Oldham. The real surprise is that Craig Brown, having played with a 3 centre-back system throughout most of the qualifying games, has chosen to revert to a 4-4-2 formation. The orange and the tartan make for a very colourful scene inside Villa Park today. Not many empty seats inside the ground, and certainly standing room only on the substitutes benches, where, remember, countries are allowed to have the remaining 11 players in their squad, although only 3 of them can be used in the match. Today's referee is Leif Sundell of Sweden, and it was in Sweden that these 2 teams met in their opening fixture of the previous European Championships 4 years ago. Dennis Bergkamp scored the only goal that day. Since then, of course, he's played in Italy, for Inter Milan, and now in England. Trying to stop him scoring today, Andy Gorham in Scotland's goal, out of the international scene for 16 months, but dramatically back in the limelight today. It's his 36th cap. So the scene is set for the second match in Group A to begin. A chance, of course, for Terry Venables and the England party to size up their other opponents for a place in the quarter-finals. And it's Holland in their famous orange jerseys who get us underway, attacking from left to right. Scotland all in blue, and Scotland believing that this is their opportunity to prove that they're here on merit, and indeed that they intend to go further in the competition than just the opening phase, something they've never done in 8 previous attempts in World Cups and European Championships. There's a testing ball straight away for the Scottish defence. Townend almost on the end of it. Boyd managed to get it clear, and an excellent challenge by McCall relieves that immediate pressure on the Scottish goal, but the danger hasn't gone yet. Vichka on the left, looking for Townend, far post, and a nervous sort of opening, Ron Atkinson, by the Scottish defenders.
Yes, but a very, very bright start from the Dutch. Passing the ball about, which they will do for the most of the game. 1 and 2 touch, popping it around, changing the scene all the while, and that's where the Scots defence particularly have got to be looking around and concentrating. One solo striker, Holland. It's important that one of the Scottish central defence gets hold of him, and the other acts as the insurance man.
Towering header clear by Johan de Kock, who's coming to this side because Danny Blind is suspended and de Boer injured and out, of course, of the tournament. The Dutch have had a fairly troubled passage to this point of the championships. They had to win their final match in the qualifying series just to ensure a place in the playoffs against the Republic of Ireland at Anfield. So they went mighty close to not being here at all. Challenge there by McAllister, but the ball runs loose to Boghada, one of the Ajax contingent in this side. And Reisiger, who used to play for Ajax, now with Milan. Townend in an offside position on the Dutch right. Exciting player, and got the vote for one of these wide positions ahead of Nottingham Forest's Brian Roy. Van Hooijdonk, who was top scorer ironically in the Scottish League, didn't make the squad either. Helder of Arsenal, another one of the British contingent who didn't make Holland's final 22. There's Gordon Jury, who's arrived back in the Scotland team after a couple of years off the international picture, and he wins the first free kick for Scotland. The Corps wanted to take it quickly and gets it back from McAllister. The Corps trying to set Gallagher free down the left-hand side. And despite the protests of the Scottish fans, the referee saw nothing wrong with that challenge by Vichka. It's a goal kick.
And I think that's the reason why, or part of the reason why, Craig Brown's changed his lineup. He wants to have some flank attacking on that right-hand side. I mean, the Dutch haven't got a natural left full-back, and I think he wants Gallagher to stretch them back on that side and probably get Vichka to push him back into less offensive positions.
Ronald de Boer turning away from danger, and in the end Collins brought him down. John Collins, who goes to Monaco next season from Celtic. Paument, and that was a rather rash challenge by Boyd. The referee's pointing to him, and whether he's going to call him over and show him the yellow card is in doubt, but I don't think much doubt, frankly, because that was a challenge that, in view of what's been going on so far in these championships, probably did merit the yellow card, Ron.
Oh, definitely, yeah, and reckless as well, because now he's on sudden death. I think you'll find Ronald de Boer will feed Townwent the ball as much and every possible opportunity he's got now, which means Boyd has got to be very, very careful with his challenges.
And Boyd becomes the 31st player already to be cautioned in these championships, and we're only into the 5th game. Jury's clearance, De Boer pumping it back in again. Bolhada will leave it this time, and the shot by a young man who I'm sure is going to make a big impact on these championships, Johan Jordi Cruyff, son of the all-time great Johan, who scored 33 goals for Holland in his 48 internationals, one of the greatest players ever seen. And he's here today watching his son. Difficult corner for Scotland to deal with. Boyd did well. Vichka. A little bit short, that one, for Davids. But excellent play. Reisiger. Nice turn by De Boer. Vichka and Cruyff will pose a double threat to Scotland down that left-hand side. And both of them capable of getting the ball in from wide positions, either to the central strikers or, as you saw then, a shot on target by Jordi. Prefers to be known as Jordi, incidentally. It's the name of a Catalan saint. He plays for Barcelona and didn't want to live with the extra pressure of carrying the name Johan Cruyff into his career.
He's got a little trick like his father, a little lollipop there, but force wide, not the best of finishes.
Calderwood has given it away, and there's danger here, particularly with Townend in a good position in the middle if they can pull the ball back. Brilliant save by Gorham, and Townend hits the rebound over the bar. Gorham did brilliantly then, and fully justified his manager's decision to select him in that one moment, Ron.
That might be the save of the tournament. In fact, I don't think you'll see a better one than that. Here you see Bergkamp completely outstripping the defence. Henry almost heads him off, picks his spot, and that's a magnificent save from Seedorf. And Townend really should have been back on target, but he's kept them well in the game, Andy Gorham there. Magnificent save.
Vichka with the corner. Bolhada goes up for it, and Scotland lost it. It cleared off the line. There was a big appeal for a handball.
Oh, it looked a penalty to me, that. That was every bit as much as the one at Wembley, I would guess. Scotland have had a moment there, I think.
Scotland have got away with it. 6 minutes gone. They could have found themselves a goal behind, and indeed they could have conceded a penalty. McAllister coming forward. Excellent challenge by Seedorf.
I think it's also fair to say it should have been a goal. I mean, it was another missed chance in actual fact, Alan, whether it was a penalty or not.
Here's Townend again. Bergkamp in a good position. So too is Vichka on the far post, and Scotland in a bit of trouble again as Cruyff came in behind him. But I think that was a foul by the Dutch player. Indeed it was. And this is the moment when Scotland came perilously close to conceding a penalty. Was that handball? It certainly looked as though it might have been by Collins. Ron, what did you think?
I have to say I'm not as convinced, having seen the replay, as I was looking at it, if you like, with the naked eye. My first reaction was that Collins had made a definite gesture towards the ball. I'm not so sure he did there, but in view of what happened at Wembley, and in view of the fact that referees are excitable as well in a game like this, that is a big sort of burst of luck there for Scotland.
Yes, I bet Stuart Pearce, watching this game, will think, well, if I'd have had that kind of luck or judgment from the referee, England might have won their first game. Reisiger, Davids.
It's actually a brilliant start from Holland.
Yes, they really have settled into this game instantly.
I mean, not only have they passed the ball about patiently, they've also been incisive. They've had 2 or 3 very good opportunities already.
And that magnificent save by Gorham from Seedorf early on. McAllister. Scotland have got to get moving, got to get motoring to get their confidence back again after a start that must have worried them intensely. Jordi. First time ball by Seedorf, just caught offside.
I'm just looking at this now, whether they've been doing a lot of work on this, the Scottish team. They seem as if they're prepared to play with a high back line, you know, they're pushing up a little bit. There's the chance again, that's a penalty. I think he's very, very lucky looking at it from that angle. John Collins is very, very unlucky not to concede that. Sorry, that he's got away with it.
Indeed.
But looking at the Scottish team, they're playing with a very high back 4, you know. I mean, they've been playing with the back 3 in previous games. They've changed to a back 4. And they're leaving an awful lot of space behind them. I mean, all fairness to Calderwood, he's not the quickest in the world. Henry can devour the sort of ground, but any sort of run from midfield is going to disturb them.
Scotland had one of the best records defensively in the qualifiers of any nation to get to this stage of Euro 96. They only let in 3 goals in their 10 qualifying games. Scoring goals has been Scotland's big problem. No Duncan Ferguson as well to help them in that department, and Paul McStay and also Alan McLaren, notable absentees from the Scottish squad in these championships, all out injured. The Dutch winners in 1988, remember, and they lost their opening game that time. This is both harder for them. Reached the quarter-finals of the World Cup 2 years ago, remember Holland, and only lost narrowly against Brazil. And we all recall the great Dutch team of the 70s, which reached successive World Cup finals in 1974 and 1978. They have in this squad the nucleus of a very young team that the country believes will serve them well for the next 6 years or so.
You see, Glenn Hoddle was saying before the game about Bergkamp wouldn't be entirely happy with playing as the out-and-out frontman. But I think what you'll find will happen as the game develops, Bergkamp will often pull towards the ball and let either Seedorf or even Ron de Boer, who actually played against England in that ill-fated night, if you like, in Rotterdam, actually played centre-forward in that game. But they've got midfield players that are well adept at getting past the front people.
Well, Scotland have hardly had a sniff in the Dutch half as yet.
But the important thing is their goal's intact. They could have been 2 down and out of sight by now, but they're not. And that football works funny. They'll get their time if they can stay in the game.
This is de Kock for Holland. Pursued by Jury. And Vichka just let it run on to Jordi. Vichka again. The sort of passing ability we have come to expect from Dutch players. Reisiger. Talent ahead of him. De Boer sets one up. And Davids just went one challenge too many. He's left a big hole now in the defensive position he's come out of, but Reisiger was so quick to fill that hole. The Dutch invented what was termed total football in the 70s, with players able to adapt to a variety of different positions on the field, and they all look so comfortable no matter where they receive the ball, no matter what their job. Here's Taument. Boyd having problems staying with him, and the cross is a useful one. And as it was headed back in by Seedorf, Scotland were in a bit of trouble to get it clear, and McKimmie has conceded a throw. Stuart McKimmie of Aberdeen, who won the Scottish Coca-Cola Cup final last season, 33 now. Scotland, as Bob Wilson mentioned, have officially the oldest squad in these championships with an average age of 29. Hendry with a towering header clear from De Boer. Well, the important thing surely for Scotland now, Ron, is that they take heart from the fact that, as you rightly say, despite that early Dutch pressure, it's still goalless.
It's also very important that as a team they don't get stretched, that they don't go chasing the ball in areas where it's not going to hurt them. Because they know that they're going to have to face it throughout the game, that Holland will knock the ball about and will have plenty of possession. It's important that the Scottish players don't go chasing it in needless areas.
Taument. Boer. Bergkamp in a good position in the centre. Collins denied him room for the cross. The Dutch man strikes up again. It's a tremendously colourful sight behind the goal. The Dutch are attacking. Good atmosphere, good mood here. But Scotland's mood could have been dark if one or two of those early moments had gone against them. Vitschke will take this free kick. De Boer also in attendance. Bergkamp and Bogarde both forward. So too is Seedorf. Never reached any of them. Gallagher's clearance into a half deserted, almost, only Van der Sar, and now Reiziger going back to collect the ball in the Dutch territory. Davids.
You talked about total footballers from Holland. I mean, Davids is a first-class example. I mean, sometimes you see him playing, I have seen him playing as an out-and-out left winger. Now he's playing as the man that drops into the back four.
Here's a moment to get the Scottish fans off their seats, perhaps. Collins in possession, they're backing away dangerously here, and certainly they invited the shot. Van der Sar with a one-armed save, an unorthodox piece of goalkeeping, but effective. And Boyd has it back. This is better for Scotland. This will lift their confidence. Gordon Jury. Boyd has continued his run and got into the penalty area. Collins in support. Nice little angle ball to Boyd. He looks for Booth in the middle. And the clearance has only taken us as far as Collins. It was a brave challenge, though, by Taument to deny him room for the shot. But Scotland having their period of possession now. McAllister to Boyd. Boyd sees a route open up and finds McAllister. If he had only caught that one cleanly.
Good play from Scotland, good play from Tommy Boyd. Gary McAllister, a guy running from midfield who you would want to go into those positions, you'd want to have the ball. He's tried for a placement, whereas he could have maybe gone a little bit further, and you know how McAllister can crack them. He's gone for a little placement there, he's hit it a little bit early, actually. But a very, very sharp move and some great work from Tommy Boyd there.
The last couple of minutes have been very encouraging for Scotland. Bogarde. It's a very good ball. Vitschke on the end of it. Good defending by Colin Calderwood. Collins and McAllister, two of the most technically gifted players in this Scottish team combining, but the strength of Taument wins the ball back off Jury. Now Reiziger and Johan de Kock, who incredibly at this level of the game is actually a part-time player, the Dutch centre-back, wearing number 18. He's actually a civil engineer. Here he is in possession again and plays football semi-professionally for Roda in Holland. Most of the others are on absolute fortunes in their various countries where they play club football. Including Bergkamp here, star for Arsenal in his first season. Now De Boer. That looked like a foul by Collins, and that's a dangerous area to concede free kicks against the Dutch of all teams, Ron.
Yes, and there's no doubt about it. It was a free kick. I mean, he's one of my particular favourites, this lad, Ron De Boer. I mean, as I said earlier, I've seen him play centre forward. I've seen him play all over midfield, and I think he's one of the vital components of the Dutch side. Him and his brother, very much unsung actually. But this looks like one of Witschke's left-footed ones.
Witschke it is who belts it. It got through the wall, but Gorham's concentration and handling top rate. Needed to be.
You know, that's been one of the disappointments so far of the tournament. I know we're only 3 days into it. We've seen any number of free kicks, and I don't think I've seen one that's over trouble the keeper. Any of the games I've seen. There was some yesterday. Thomas Hessler for Germany. You know, players that we know to be particularly good at bending free kicks around walls and so forth.
Strange there, the whole Scottish wall jumped up, was like a chorus line, and the ball just went underneath them.
Yeah, well, that's now the new innovation, isn't it, over the last 2 or 3 years? Everybody gets up and tries to make themselves as big as they can.
So if you can sneak the ball under the wall, you've done the job.
That'll be the next innovation.
Now Davids with an excellent ball forward. Bergkamp in a threatening position here. Scotland could be in trouble from Bergkamp. He needs to pull it back, does he? Towman tried to get the shot in, and the danger has gone.
Danger is, I think, Scotland are leaving too much space behind at the back of their defence, particularly Bergkamp against Calderwood. Calderwood's not a flying machine, and if Bergkamp gets 1v1 like he did in that on that particular occasion, he's going to skin him. I've got a feeling he might even have been offside, Bergkamp, when he started his run, but I think that's a bit of a dangerous play.
That looked ominous for Scotland.
I think they might be better suited, Alan, if they put one in against Bergkamp and pulled a deep centre half and said, all right, you just make sure there's no through balls.
Davids.
See, even as play's developing here, Bergkamp's just moving between the two Scottish central defenders, and none of them's actually marking him. He's just drifting from one to the other. You can see Calderwood and Henry now having a word with each other.
Certainly Craig Brown surprised a lot of people with his choice of tactics, if you like, today, because everyone expected him to play the 3 centre-backs. Why do you suppose he changed it for such an important game?
I think the reason is, I think he probably thought that if he did have 3 centre-backs, I think I heard Alex Ferguson mention it actually before the game, that if he has 3 centre-backs, sometimes there's a tendency for 3 to sit in there against 1 central striker, and they waste a player. But if they're playing the way they're playing, let's just see this finish.
Jury in possession, and a great run by Jury. Needs some help now, gets it from Collins. Collins was trying to get it round onto his left foot. He's got a free kick out of it, rather surprisingly. Looked a harsh decision, that, to me, against De Boer.
Now let's see what McAllister can do that none of the so-called, or none of the Continentals have done so far in the tournament. Collins has actually got himself into a few good positions here, and you're right, that did look a dubious free kick. But Collins has got on the edge of the box once or twice and offered the threat of a shot. I mean, they're all round this. I can't believe anybody else but Gary McAllister is going to have a dip at this.
It's perfect territory for the Leeds United man and the Scotland skipper. And Van der Sar showed 1 or 2 nervous moments in the Champions League final from set pieces, you remember?
I certainly don't like the way he parried the first one. That's reminiscent of that game in Rome, isn't it?
McAllister lifts it over the wall. It was a brilliant effort, and in fairness to Van der Sar, he was more than equal to it. Great goalkeeping.
Yeah. Very accurate, very good. Possibly needed a little bit more pace on it, didn't he? He's got it up and he's got it down, and you say, but just comfortable enough for the goalkeeper to make a save. A little bit more pace might have had him in bother.
McAllister will take the corner himself. Scotland have sent the heavy artillery forward, Henry in particular. It's gone over his head, though. McCall playing it back in to Henry, in fact. He couldn't quite get the ball threaded back to his teammate. This is Witschke now for Holland. Well, the signs are for Scotland that when they do apply a little bit of pressure on the Dutch defence, they're creaking slightly.
Yeah, well, the system the Dutch play, you know, with virtually 3 defenders and one of the midfield players dropping in, often gives you the impression that they're light in numbers. But I mean, that's been a Dutch trait since the days of Johan Cruyff and that particular team. It's something Johan Cruyff's adopted over the last few years as well at Barcelona. And you always feel there's good chances to have a go at them.
Holland coming forward again. And De Boer getting into an attacking position. That was good defensive play by Scott Booth, who hasn't had much opportunity to show what he's capable of in the other end of the field, but defended well then.
In actual fact, Bergkamp's looked very comfortable playing as the solo striker. It looks as if he's quite happy just floating here, there and everywhere. And he's actually leading the back line of Scotland quite a dance.
Henry marking Johan de Kock very closely, but there are plenty of other threats. Bohada is an immensely powerful player in the air as well. A lot of problems here for the Scots. It's gone in over their heads. De Boer tries to play it back in again, and Calderwood gets it clear. Only as far as Seedorf, who's there again to win possession and find Taument. Vichka, lovely little reverse ball to Taument. Still 5 forward here for Holland. Taument went down rather theatrically then, and Collins is trying to say to the referee that was a dive.
Yeah, he exaggerated it, but I think it was a free kick.
Initially, yes.
It was a free kick, Alan. He's blocked him off. He's got under him. I think it was the little bit of, as you say, theatrical business at the end that upset Collins. But on all the set plays, it's noticeable that they try and aim for the space that Henry's not. I mean, de Kock gets against him, and I think you'll try and run Henry out the way here.
Ripped into that near post again, and danger for Scotland once more, and it was a brilliant challenge by McCall that rescued them once again. De Kock poised, he's injured himself in the process, and it looked another goal. Odds on here. Brilliant tackle by McCall as Gorham slid in.
Great retrieving that, but it's surprising how many problems they're having off just, if you like, bread and butter set plays.
There's a deep cross to Boer, heading it back into the danger zone, and Bergkamp couldn't get it through the crowd of players. Scotland continue to live dangerously, but it's not out of choice. Reisiger with a very short back pass there, and Vichka complaining that as he played the ball back to his keeper, Gallagher just caught him.
The one thing Craig Brown wouldn't have thought, okay, he'd have anticipated maybe getting caught on a give and go. Here's another, here it is. Number of bodies. This is that little spin run again of Bergkamp's. He's in again. They're flirting with disaster there at the back. But what surprised me, what I was saying must surprise or must annoy Craig Brown, is they've been picked off now, I think it's on 3 occasions, from bread and butter set plays. Good delivery, good movement, the sort of thing they face in league football day in and day out, week in and week out. You know, they're moving Henry away, they're aiming for the space he's not. And what surprised me on the last 2 corners, or the free kick in the corner, was Gary McAllister has left Ronald de Boer. When Gary McAllister's got to get tighter in those situations. He's a very, very good header for a creative player. He's given de Boer too much space.
25 minutes gone at Villa Park in this Group A match. Holland 0, Scotland 0. Scotland have come close several times, or, well, once notably, really, when McAllister had that free kick, but Holland have come even closer. Gallagher battling away there with Vichka for the ball. And how does the referee read that one? He reads it as Scotland's free kick.
And Vichka in the book.
Yep. Second portion of the game. 1 for each side now. Boyd of Scotland, Vichka of Holland. Yellow card number 32 of the championships.
Now Henry's gone up to put some artillery up there. I think this represents one of their best chances. Free kicks, that's a long way to travel.
Henry climbed well, but de Kock got there ahead of him. Scotland only have a throw, which Boyd will take. Not enough movement really for Boyd. He hasn't got a target to pick out at the moment. Now he has. Collins leaving it to Booth, and Reisiger got in, and did that cross the line? The referee says play on, and Collins' cross is knocked away by de Boer. The Scottish players were claiming a corner then. Instead they've got a throw, which John Collins will take, or is it a corner?
It is a throw-in that Collins wanted the corner. Probably felt he could hit Henry better with it.
McAllister. Collins. Well played, Collins. Unlucky, and just got nicked by Davids as he sneaked his way between the two defenders, so Scotland have got a free kick out of that.
And Calderwood's coming up as well. Anything of quality now. This is where, and they've got as good a player as there is anywhere to put this in McAllister. He's urging them right in against the goalkeeper. And there's a bit of fighting going on in the box between Hendry and de Kock.
Yes, out of picture at the moment and out of sight of the referee. Quite a scramble going on, and Van der Sar, none too impressively, poured that ball away when I think the majority of goalkeepers would have been looking to catch it. Easy for me to say. Now McAllister's been sent spinning by Talmant, and that might be another yellow card, and it is. Incidentally, Lennart Johansson, the president of UEFA, said in a statement today that referees will continue to be told to be firm despite the media criticism of the large number of bookings that we've already had, and referees are also being told to stamp down against delaying tactics. Fines are being issued as well for players who offend. The clearance by Seedorf. Collins. That's a foul by De Boer.
And I think they've got to try and get this as close to the keeper as they can. I mean, that might be a goalkeeping technique that's quite popular in Amsterdam or something, that parrying it out, but it doesn't impress me. And I must confess, having seen him in the Champions League and having seen one or two of his parries here, get it in amongst him and let's see what he does with it.
Please do not use my name in that vein, please. Hendry going up well. Collins wins it back. That was dangerously high, though. And wouldn't have counted if anything had come of that, because he just caught Jordi in the face. Only 22, by the way, Jordi. Could have played for Spain. In fact, was selected for their under-21 side, but chose to play for Holland, like his father, before it. And that nearly rearranged his good lucks, but he's okay. Bergkamp got a little nudge in the background from Calderwood. Touch of the North London derby feeling about that challenge. Seedorf over the free kick for Holland. Just coming up to half an hour completed in this match. Still goalless. Davids trod on the ball. Collins still couldn't win it off. A brilliant play by Davids. And then Hendry clattered him to the ground. The referee has said play on. Seedorf beaten to it by McAllister. Now Jury hasn't seen much of the ball yet, nor indeed has Scott Boo, Scotland's front man. Not seeing much of it at all, and then McCall gives it away. Bergkamp miscontrols it, and Scotland grateful. Good clearance by de Kock. Talmant. And that's Scotland's game plan, of course, to parry and try and force errors. They've shamelessly taken a leaf out of Juventus's book, the way the Italians played against Ajax in the Champions League final. Scotland believe that's the way to play against this Dutch national team. So far, though, it hasn't been entirely convincing, that tactic, because Holland have been so good in possession. Now then, Bohada seemed to be getting tugged back there. The cross was knocked away by Calderwood, though, and Collins is clearly fouled by Davids. And it looks like a yellow card for the offending player, Edgar Davids. Or was it the challenge on Gallagher that he got it for, Ron? Did you see that clearly?
It wasn't very... the referee wasn't very clear. I got a feeling he booked Gallagher, actually, after the incident when he was sort of shirt tugging.
I must say that's one thing referees haven't been very clear on, exactly who they've been cautioning. There was confusion in the Denmark match last night, but here goes Scotland on the attack again, and as Jury was waiting for the ball to be slid through to him, it never came, and suddenly Holland looked dangerous on the counter-attack, but that was much too deep from De Boer. Collins has limped his way back into action at the other end of the field.
Yeah, you look at the Scottish people, the Scottish chances at the moment, and they always look better when it's either McAllister in possession or Collins in the top half of the field. That represents to me their best their best chances of opening their account. Either that or Hendry coming up for a set play.
I think that little shirt tug we saw there by Gallagher might have been the reason why, as you say, it could have been him. Of course, we'll have to check that one with the official at half-time.
Yeah, it wasn't very clear at all, was it, the ref? Because Davids had just cleaned out Collins in midfield at the same time.
Yeah. McAllister helps it on to Collins. Now Hendry. McCall, another of the Scots who might have played for England. Calderwood. Now Seedorf for Holland. On it goes to De Boer, Ronald De Boer. His twin brother Frank, of course, injured and out of Holland's championship bid. Collins doing really well there to win the ball. And delivers it long for Scott Booth. McAllister arriving in support, so too is Gallagher in the centre, but the cross disappointing.
Yeah, it's a pity there. Scott Booth couldn't just have spotted. There was a little gap between the two defenders that were hustling him, and Gallagher was pouring into it. If he could have just picked a little ball between them, Gallagher would have been in a lovely position.
That seems to be confirmation that it was indeed Gallagher rather than Davids who was shown the yellow card.
To be fair to Scotland, if they can see this through to half-time with no score, or even better than that, you know, they would be happier, I would think, than Holland, because Holland have had 3 or 4 very good opportunities and haven't taken any. And sometimes as a manager, sometimes when you're sat at, or a player, when you're sat there and you think, hang on a bit, is it our day? They've ridden the luck certainly, and they're growing in confidence. Look at the big blonde fella surging forward now.
Collins, a class competitor. And the layoff by Boyd. Calderwood leaves it to the captain, McAllister. Now the Spurs man again. He has McKimmie to his right. He uses him. And the Scotland fans cheering every touch of the ball by their players, but they've got a boo now because Holland have it back again with Seedorf. De Boer. Waiting for Towment to make the run down the right. Boyd realised what was happening. Collins.
Just a little bit surprised the Dutch haven't used Towment more, just fed him a few bread and butter balls to feet. I mean, he got Boyd got an early booking and yet hasn't really been tempted by Towment since then.
Dury now as Scotland build again. Gallagher's layoff. Calderwood encouraged to come forward. Gallagher again. McKimmie is still out there on the right. But he ran straight into danger. Collins wins it back off Jordi. But the Dutch player has possession again and uses Seedorf. Now Towman can run at Boyd. Hendry is the backup defender, so he had to come inside to Seedorf.
But I'm just amazed he just popped that one off. I thought he would have had a go at him. I thought he got 1 for 1. All right, they've got a free kick in a dangerous area. But Towman, that's his game, attacking defenders. He got him 1 for 1. A lot of space behind Boyd. And he just laid it off inside.
Looks like a variation on the way here for the Dutch. Maybe Seedorf, maybe Davids, De Boer, Witschke. Have Scotland done their homework? Do they know what to expect? Or the Holland have a surprise up their sleeves here? It is Witschke, and it's a very well-struck effort, but was always travelling too high by Richard Witschke, who made a couple of appearances with Blackburn Rovers the season they won the championship as a substitute. He was on loan from Barcelona at the time, just moved back to Ajax after 2 years with the French team Bordeaux, for whom he played in the UEFA Cup final. Gus Hiddink, who took over halfway through the qualifying competition as Dutch coach, was changed to a more youthful team, based unashamedly on Ajax. And why not? Under 10 minutes to half-time, still 0-0. Scotland have had their moments. Holland have obviously had most of the possession, though, and certainly the better chances.
Yeah, you said we haven't seen much from the Scottish strikers as an attacking force, but I think we're just seeing what they're doing there an awful lot. Jury and Booth spending an awful lot of their time containing, trying to sort of make sure that the Ajax backline don't come out with the ball.
Well, there were a couple of really strong challenges in that little build-up, as a result of which Jury is in some agony. And this is why it was the second challenge coming up here from Davids that caught him. Jury, former Chelsea and Spurs player, rediscovered his best form late on in the day to earn a place in the squad. It is hat-trick for Rangers in the Scottish Cup final against Hearts. Did his cause no harm at all. He scored also in the friendly in Colombia just before the championships began. Calderwood with the free kick. 8 minutes of the first half remaining. Turned back in by McAllister. Gallagher couldn't reach it. Vichka clear. Jordi with a brilliant ball, hooked over his own shoulder to Seedorf. Bergkamp is ahead of him. And De Boer also in support now. But surrounded by blue jerseys, and a very good tackle by Hendry, who didn't really want the ball played back to him in that situation by McKinney. Scotland relieved to get a free kick. Here's Scott Booth, the Aberdeen striker. McAllister runs straight into Davids. Now De Kock. Seedorf. Oh, he knew what he was doing there. Just swept the ball in one movement out to Jordi. Always been a brilliant blend, the Dutch, of almost Brazilian technique and European hardness. And Reisiger comes forward for them here. Bergkamp touches it straight to Hendry, to Scotland's relief. A bit of the European hardness I was talking about, as Seedorf came in and clattered his man from behind then. And Scott Booth looking plaintively towards the referee, wondering if another card might be on its way. No, just a free kick. McAllister has possession. There's one trying to use the pace down the right of Kevin Gallagher, but didn't give him much hope really with that ball. Gallagher, who's back in the squad after a couple of years of injury problems, 2 broken legs. Played in the last European Championships for Scotland 4 years ago. And Scotland actually played quite well, although they went out after the first phase. 5 minutes to half-time here in their opening game of Euro '96. Tremendous work by Jury to deny Johan De Kock. Holland still have it. Vichka. Good block by Gallagher. A draw from this match would be a tremendous result for Scotland. They believe they can beat Switzerland, and of course, if you happen to have had a package holiday on Mars, I can remind you that England play Scotland at Wembley on Saturday, and that's a match in which anything could happen. I think that will be a unique match in these championships. There won't be any other game that will be quite like that one. Gorham's clearance over the head of Collins. Now Reisiger. Towment. Came off Collins, but I think it was a foul by Towment before that, yes. Scotland's free kick. One of the players has already been cautioned, incidentally, the Feyenoord man. Here's Booth. Boyd making a tremendous run down the left, but Towment equally getting back well. De Kock. They always play their way out of trouble, Holland. No thought of a nameless lump upfield, but that wasn't the best ball. Boyd stretching and beaten to it by Davids. McCall just got in the way and gets it again. And Seedorf beaten by Gallagher now. McAllister, nice little ball on for McCall. They've got possibilities here, Scotland. 4 in this attack. Scott Booth in possession. Gallagher, a Jury in the middle, and McAllister arriving edge of the box. The cross was always too close to Van der Sar, sadly. Davids for Holland. Mitchka. Jordi outside in. Either side is Davids again. De Boer has Talment to the right. Jordi far post, Bergkamp 6-yard box. And I think that flicked off a Scottish defender. So it's a corner.
I think he's got to do that more often if Holland are going to have any joy in the top half of the field in the last third. Talment's got to be prepared to engage and have a go at Tommy Boyd a lot more. Strangely enough, in the last few minutes, there's quite a lot of unforced errors, if you like, have crept into the Dutch play. Once or twice they've given the ball away, most uncharacteristically. But this has been one of their best avenues at the moment, corners.
De Boer will take this one. Boharder lets it run on, and that turned out to be a mistake as Jury hooked it away from danger. Leipzig in a chase here, and that was good pressure by Gordon Jury. He must have run, what, 100 yards almost there to close down his opponent. Davids. De Kock. And now Boharder. De Boer. Bergkamp spins away to make himself available. Seedorf. And again. Good defending from Scotland. However, Holland have it back, and De Boer's in a good position here. They had to block that cross. Still danger, though. Brilliant run, and Calderwood in the end with a very important interception. Scotland under some pressure here late on in the half. Vital they hold on here with only 30 seconds of time remaining, and whatever the referee decides to add. Davids for Holland. Good ball for De Boer. Got away from McAllister. And lines up the shot, perhaps. Calderwood again with an important interception. And there's a long ball by McAllister for Booth to chase. Boharder seemed to be tugging him back. He needs some help here, does he? And he's getting it now from Jury. And also behind him from Gallagher. And McAllister's in a great position for Scotland here. Can he make something of it? Immediately he crossed. The linesman raised his flag. Offside against Scott Booth in the middle. But a promising attack by Scotland, Rob.
Very much so, and I think that's the final whistle for half-time anyway. But that would have been a big note for them to finish on. McAllister just signalling to the crowd there, keep at it.
Well, Holland certainly played some delightful football and created quite a few scoring opportunities in that game. But the important thing for Scotland was that, thanks in particular to Gorham's heroics very early on here, and 1 or 2 moments of good fortune, they've held on. The half-time score at Villa Park: Holland 0, Scotland 0.
Welcome back to Villa Park, where the half-time score is Holland 0, Scotland 0, and I think, gentlemen, the first thing we need to say, Alex, is terrific to watch, terrific game.
Marvellous. Dutch had a great start to the game, but when Scotland started getting into their half, they started playing well too. And there's been a lot of incidents, there's been some great football, and it's been a marvellous, entertaining match.
Starting, Ian, first of all, with Andy Gorham. I know there's a choice for Craig Brown about him or Jim Leighton, but what a truly magnificent save, one of the great saves.
It was a nervous start to proceedings for Scotland. You know, the early minutes, the Dutch looked as if they could have gone a couple up. And it was a great one by Bergkamp. See it off with the shot there, and the goalkeeper made a great save. But
it's a wonderful barrier save, isn't it?
That's a super save, Bob. I mean, I said before the game that I felt that Andy Gorham was going to be a key figure. But they've got behind the Scottish defence, but it's a tremendous reactions. Look at that, so early in the game as well.
So that was important. It led to that corner. You see the ball going out there, Alex, and from the corner, I mean, it was the old heart-in-mouth job, because was it a penalty or not? Now, you're totally unbiased here. I want you to be totally unbiased here.
The one thing about the corner kicks have been tremendous deliveries, and you see it come across. It's hit off McKinley first, and it's John's. But it wasn't two hands, and I think in the European football...
on Saturday, it was a two-hander, wasn't it? That was a one-hander.
Now that's a clear penalty, isn't it, without any doubt? Glenn?
It's a definite penalty, really, and they were lucky to get away with it.
Unsighted. Now, the point there is that Scotland, as you mentioned, Alex, they weathered the storm, started to come back, and there was... the nice thing was, it wasn't just a free kick chance, it was a lovely move that led up to...
They played some great football, and Tommy Boy's got on the ball here. He's cut in and he sees the way away. Just as he comes through Gary McAllister, a tremendous run. I think he could have taken on a yard, you know, and he may have opened up the goal for himself. But he's taking it early, and you can't blame him.
You love to take free kicks, Glenn. You'd appreciate this.
Yeah, it's a super free kick. He's got it up and down very quickly, and let's face it, the keeper's Sarah's had to really full stretch to make a good save there, and. I think Scotland have had a good little nibbles there. I think they're not out of this game.
Really
they're not out of this game yet. It's been an exciting game, but they're not out of it.
Having said that, I mean, again, towards the end, there were a couple more chances, Ian, weren't there, that went Holland's way.
Playing against Holland, you're going to be up against it, aren't you? There are going to be times where they carve you up, and they've done that with Scotland quite a few times. This was a great tackle, I have to say this, by McCall, who read the situation there, got the tackle in and just slid the ball away clean as a whistle. That was terrific.
And then comes a corner, Alex, and another little chance.
Another one, and I must say this, it's happened twice for Gary McAllister. He's not done well defensively, and a man of his experience really should be doing better than that.
Great defending in numbers, isn't it?
Oh yeah, well there's a bit of ricocheting of the ball and there's a bit of luck too, but there's nothing wrong with that.
I counted about 7 or 8 there, Glenn, in blue shirt.
I think it was from the corner, so I think they've had 2 on the post and they've had enough players back there, so that you have to defend in desperation sometimes, and they got the good fortune when they needed it.
But don't you think, as a team, that Scotland are working very, very well as a team? They're working as a great unit. You know, they're up and back together, and I think that they're showing a great attitude to the
All
game.
right, thank you for the moment. I think we said it might be a penalty. After the break, we'll get the views of Gary and Phil Neville of England, plus the second half here of Holland against Scotland live. Not long now to the second half here at Villa Park. It's 0-0 between Scotland and Holland. Just time to get the views of Gary and Phil Neville, who are watching the game at England's hotel. Now, Phil, I'm going to start with you. You've got the result at the moment so far that you wanted. You know, 1 point each at the moment.
Yeah, I hope it stays this way during the game, but I still fancy Scotland to get something out of the game. You know, the Dutch defence doesn't look the best to me, and if Gary McAllister keeps getting on the ball, I fancy Scotland to score.
I've got the boss for you, Gary. I've got your boss, Alex Ferguson, for you.
Never mind shaking your head, Phil. Now tell me, I'm looking at the pace of the game tonight, and I know Wembley is such a hard place and a hot day. How were you feeling in the second half on Saturday, Gary?
Personally, I felt a little bit tired. I think I'd not trained for 11 days from the Hong Kong trip to the Thursday before the game, because I picked up a bit of a thigh strain, and maybe it was down to that, I think.
I think probably the game will bring a few of you on, really.
Pardon?
I think the game will bring a few of you on, fitness-wise.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think second half we did look a bit tired. I've watched it again, and you know, I think maybe this week, maybe we'll have a different build-up to the game.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks. I'm going to interrupt you because we've got Craig Brown, Scottish manager, and I think he's with Gabriel Clark.
Craig, living on the edge early on, perhaps, but what's your verdict overall? Yes, obviously we were struggling in the first 15 minutes, but we've settled quite well. I've replaced Scott Booth by John Spencer, who will hold it in a bit better, we hope, and we're beginning to get more optimistic. We've created 1 or 2 chances.
Can you find that goal from somewhere?
Well, we hope so. The goal would be a great relief to us, and I think we'd take the pressure off us if we could score. But we're defending very, very well. I don't think we deserve any criticism for the way we're defending, although we're allowing too much initiative in the middle of the park to the Dutch team. That will change in the second half, I hope.
Let's hope so, Craig. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
We're about to go again here for the second half. Back to Ron Atkinson and Alan Parry.
Thank you, Bob. And just to confirm that change that Craig Brown referred to there, John Spencer, there he is, wearing number 7, the Chelsea player, top scorer for Chelsea last season, in fact, replacing Scott Booth. And one assumes he will just fit automatically into that role, although he scored most of his goals for Chelsea from a position just behind the strikers. He has never actually scored for Scotland, incidentally, in his 11 previous internationals. But Spencer on for Booth, the only change, as far as we can see, on either side. And just looking around quickly, the Dutch, I can confirm that. Scotland now attacking the goal to our right, behind which thousands of noisy and colourful Dutch supporters are gathered. So can this new-look Scottish attack unlock a very, very impressive Netherlands defence, which, apart from free kicks and that lovely move involving Boyd and McAllister, have looked fairly comfortable. Seedorf beaten to it, though, by Gallagher, who's worked really hard, as indeed all the Scottish players have. Against a team of such talent in possession, you've got to keep working. Here's Spencer. Tries to set it up for McAllister. And he hit that one with power, but unfortunately not the accuracy to match. Good start, though, by Scotland, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice little start for John Spencer. He's set up, he's teed him up here, and I think that Gary McAllister would expect to be on target there with his ability. I think you have to give Davids just a little bit of credit there. Just managed to do enough to put him off from the back.
4 goals in his international career so far for Gary McAllister. This is his 41st cap for Scotland today. Boyd getting it back to Gorham, whose kick, I'm not sure, was intended to go where it did, but it went straight to Collins. Here's Boyd. Spencer's layoff. Henry knocking it long for Dury. And Dury got there ahead of a rather hesitant Johan de Kock. And Scotland have got more players forward in this attack than I've seen in the entire game. They had 3 in the penalty area then.
I think that's probably what Craig Brown was referring to when he said that he wants the midfield to tighten the game up a little bit. He probably felt that they allowed the Dutch team time and space to pop it about and just fell back off the ball. Now he looks as if he's said to McAllister, you push up on it, Davids. I noticed that McCall's got very close to number 4 Seedorf. Now whether that's intentional or whether that's just something that's happening in the flow of the game.
Collins again. Colin Calderwood, a man whose international career comes at the end of a curious club career when he had many years with Mansfield in the lower divisions and Swindon. A move to Tottenham, ended up with international caps. It's Bovhada. And on the left, Vichka. Lovely ball. Seedorf took it beautifully on the chest, but was then fouled. A bit of a harsh decision that against Stuart McCall, whose birthday it is today, incidentally. He's 32. Towman, was that handball? I thought it was. So did the Scottish hordes behind that goal, but the referee didn't, and he's the only important man in that. The Boers cross. Gorham came to claim it. Handball here on? Yes. Only one hand, as Alex Ferguson said. Calderwood.
He at the moment's been a major disappointment to me, Talmont. He hasn't really, apart from about one occasion, he hasn't really picked the ball up and galloped. And you know, the Dutch do specify, and that's the one thing they do is keep players in wide areas.
Unlucky there, that layoff from Dury, just too strong for Gallagher. England may regard Scotland as the poor relations, but the Scots will tell you proudly that unlike England, they qualified for 5 successive World Cup finals between 1974 and 1990. This is only their second attempt at the final stages of the European Championships, as Spencer tries an attempt that might have caught Van der Sar on the hop but didn't.
Isn't it true, though, most Englishmen will say that the only way to really qualify is as hold as Anna?
But I think that's only happened once, if I'm not mistaken, by England.
And by Scotland?
I'm not entering into that.
No, it's a great record, you're right. It's a great record, the number of times they qualify.
It is, of course, a cruel joke told that Scottish players are usually home before their postcards in these championships. They're determined to change that this time. Here's Jordi for Holland, and straight into trouble. McKimmie did well. Vichka sweeps it out to De Boer on the right. Boyd barring the way to goal, but he's got inside him. Oh, brilliant play by De Boer! Excellent effort by Ronald De Boer. Began as a striker and looked as though he remembered a little bit of the upbringing then.
I mean, a good strong run. They've managed to force him off to his less favoured foot. He hasn't really got round it, but I mean, for me, I said in the first half, I think he's an excellent technical player, and very much an unsung player for them.
His father, Kees, was also a Dutch international. Both his sons made it into the squad. Here's Spencer, who's made a lively start here as Scotland's substitute, but doesn't win the free kick he was hoping for then.
He'll have been a bit stung as well, John Spencer. I mean, to all intents and purposes, he looked the first choice striker alongside Gordon Jury. Didn't get the nod, probably a little bit hurt before the game, so he's come on with a little bit of, if you like, a little bit of a fizz pop there.
And he's a fiery little character at the best of times. If he's got that fire in his belly, then he could cause Holland some problems. Former Glasgow Rangers player.
Yeah, they've got the incentive, A, of wanting to open the group as well with a good result, good positive result, and also to make sure they're in for the big one on Saturday.
Henry for Scotland. Down the left touchline, aimed at McAllister. Reisiger saw the danger. That was a dangerous ball, hooked back in, and Spencer almost got there. A last-ditch challenge by de Kock prevented what might well have been a real goal-scoring opportunity for John Spencer.
More or less did he by inches, didn't he, the Dutch central defender? Just about got the last nick on Spencer.
He's only 5'5", Spencer, so de Kock was about 6'4", certainly had plenty to spare in that respect. Scotland have started this half well. They're hustling and hassling the Dutch players, and they look a bit troubled at the moment. Gallagher. Was that a foul? Oh, well, I must say I thought so, but the referee didn't.
I think what you hit a key word there, respect. I think what Craig Brown's probably said is, hey, come on. Well, that's the one they've looked for, the one over the top.
To Townend.
Where Townend can catch his pace.
And coming into the middle is Seedorf. Had he headed that any other way other than downwards, which I think the coaches will tell you always should do, that would have been a goal.
Well, that's another let-off. I'm just thinking how well Scotland had started the game. The first attempt, they've managed to get Townend in at the back of the defence. A quality ball. Seedorf arriving late into the box. Absolute sitter missed.
Absolutely. Just moved from Sampdoria in Italy to Real Madrid in Spain. Clarence Seedorf began inevitably at Ajax. And beaten in that challenge. Wanted a free kick, but didn't get one. Good tackle by Collins. The long ball for Jury is magnificent. Spencer and Gallagher both up in attack as well. And Gallagher came in bravely against Vichka. Now did that go off the Dutch player? The linesman has said play on, so presumably didn't even cross the line. Vichka attacking with pace down the left. Spencer trying to match him stride for stride. Vichka's done well here, and McKimmie's challenge caught him. Stuart McKimmie, who I was reading a foreign magazine previewing these championships, described McKimmie as a little too rough in his activities. I think this is what they meant. Here's De Boer. Townend. Davids. They're backing away. They shouldn't do that. Henry didn't. Well played, Jury. Now McAllister. If he launches this quickly, and he has, Spencer's in a good position. Bojada, the defender. Jury has got forward, and here he is. Spencer again, outside of the foot, looking for Gallagher, edge of the box. Scotland have really started well in this half, and the game has opened up now. Not that it was anything other than very entertaining in the first half, but it's promising to be even better. Seedorf. Outside him is Talment. And in support, Bergkamp. Seedorf again.
Overplayed.
Absolutely, a 1-2 too many.
Setting up play was excellent, but they overplayed at the end.
Bojada. Seedorf. Bergkamp with a poor layoff. McAllister wins it back for Scotland. Oh, well played, Gary McAllister. Now McCall. McAllister continues in possession and finds Jury. Oh, brilliant ball by Jury to Boyd. Jury again. Collins. They're playing some really good football here, Scotland. They're matching the Dutch for their style.
Certainly are. I mean, the second half they've come out and they've stepped up a gear. All right, the best chance has still fallen to the Dutch, that one from Seedorf, but there's been a purpose and a determination, and if you like, a fresh aggression about the Scottish performance.
Well, Scotland are going to make another change, surprising in a way, so early on in the half. Billy McKinley coming on for Kevin Gallagher, who I don't think is injured, and having just used one substitute at half-time, only 10 minutes into the second half, Craig Brown has decided to use another. And Billy McKinley, now with Blackburn Rovers, of course, comes on. What do you make of that one, Ron?
Well, I wouldn't have been surprised to see two of the front players come off, perhaps a little bit later in the game, because they've done a lot of running, not always running after the ball, but sort of done a lot of ball hunting.
Got to defend for the moment, Scotland. The ball coming forward again, hit that one with real pace and power, deflected behind for a corner.
The other thing, I just wonder whether he's put McGinley on to maybe tighten up a little bit more in the midfield, to maybe give them an extra sort of solid midfield and allow McAllister, who seems to have had licence this half, to just get on and get forward.
The Scots face a corner here. 11 minutes gone in the second half. It's been a good opening to the half by Scotland. Bojada making a run and headed away by McAllister. Reisiger. And now Davids. And the band plays on for Holland as Bojada takes them into attack again. De Boer goes outside him. And the return ball to Bojada, who went down under the challenge from McKinney, but there was never a question of it being a penalty. The Dutch fans, needless to say, don't agree.
No, not even a semblance that time. I noticed on the corners there, that's good spotters from Craig Brown. I noticed on the last corner that Tommy Boyd had got the responsibility of looking after Ronald de Boer. It looks as if Gary McAllister has been relieved of that responsibility.
Scotland, remember, can only use one further substitute. Holland still have all three in abeyance. Jordi. And now De Boer. McAllister doing really well, but De Boer's done even better.
He's an easy player, isn't he? An easy player, easy on the eye of the ball.
Seedorf and Talment combine down the Dutch right. And De Boer's always there, always available for the little pass, and then helps it on. Talment in a bit of trouble here against Boyd. Good play again by Scotland. And it's getting a bit compressed into this little third of the field. But Jury couldn't quite regain possession for Scotland. It's a difficult enough thing to do when the Dutch have the ball. They don't give it away easily. Koch tries to open it up with a ball out to the right, but it was a poor ball by Johan de Koch. And in terms of possession, the Netherlands, inevitably, I think, ahead, but not by that much. And Scotland can be proud of their performance so far in this game. Here's McKinley getting his first real touch of the ball. The Blackburn man replacing the Blackburn man, ironically. Now McAllister. Spencer. McCall. Davids with the clearance. Vichka under pressure, but did really well. So did Bohada. And as ever, De Boer's just there to receive it. He seems to be a master at finding space, and that could have been a dangerous ball, but Gorham was well ahead of the game.
Yeah, he's read the script there well, Andy Gorham. That was quite a promising move from the Dutch.
An hour of the game gone at Villa Park. It's Holland 0, Scotland 0. Jury in possession for the Scots. Spencer inside the penalty area. The corner will do nicely if he can get it, but he can't. It's a goal kick. 2 years out of the national team, Gordon Jury, and this is his 29th cap today. He's 30 now, had almost 10 years in English football before going back to Scotland and Rangers 4 years ago. And the adopted Dutch anthem, it's not the national anthem, but it's the one the supporters have sung and brought to stadiums all around the world. They're always tremendously good-humoured and wonderful fans to be around, the Dutch. But so too, anyone will tell you, are the Scots, who've behaved themselves impeccably wherever they've gone. And we do have a good mood inside the stadium today, and we've had a good game to reflect it as well. Now then, Bergkamp, what can he do? McCall with a very good tackle. Decent clearance by Gorham, and Jury couldn't quite touch it onto Spencer. Davids, the Milan player, finding Vichka. It's a glorious ball for Jordi. Bergkamp in the middle, so is Seedorf. Danger here for Scotland. McKimmy's tackle, corner. Hard in the mouth time, though, for Stuart McKimmy in Scotland. The Dutch fans screaming penalty.
That looks an excellent challenge, but that was great build-up play. Young Jordi just spun and Wichka played the one in over the top. Left McKimmy dead.
Jordi makes a nuisance of himself on the goal line. The Koch, the centre-back, comes to the near post. Bohada near the penalty spot. Scotland, meantime, or rather Holland, are making a change, and it's Kluivert coming on instead of Towman. Kluivert has had this knee injury, of course, and he's been restricted mainly to substitute appearances of late. But now the European Cup winner of 2 years ago is on. Couldn't quite get his first touch from the corner, but they've got another corner as it was flicked away by the Scottish defence.
Some sort of a player to bring on at this stage of a game, isn't it?
And we all remember 2 years ago in Vienna what impact he made as a substitute in the Champions League final. Scored the winning goal that day. Came on as a substitute in Rome in this year's version of that event. Didn't do quite so well. But tries to get in here, and Bergkamp got the final header over the bar.
Yeah, he's going to occupy. Kluivert's going up into the main striking position right up the middle, and Dennis Bergkamp looks as if he's going to pull away slightly to the right-hand side. I don't think he'll play as a right winger, Bergkamp, but he'll play in that little position in between Boyd and Hendry.
He's got a wonderful scoring record for his country, Dennis Bergkamp. 24 goals in 45 internationals before today. Here's McAllister for Scotland. Teases one forward, looking for Spencer. It comes to McKinley. McKinley with a good ball, but a wild effort by Jury, who had more time than he realised, really, and a bit of composure then would have paid dividends. Easy for me to say, I know.
Oh, that was a great opportunity, though. Great setting up play by McKinley. Caused, first of all, by Spencer's, if you like, unselfish running. pressurising defenders, keeping defence is occupied, and that's a good spot. He's left him completely there, and he's thrashed wildly at that. Gordon Jury, particularly for a guy that's scoring goals at the moment, as he is doing up in the Scottish League, really have expected a little bit more clinical work from him.
Goals at this level are like gold dust, and you must take opportunities when they come along. And so far, both sides have been guilty of wasting them.
Yeah, there's been some good opportunities considering it's a no-score draw at the moment. Scotland had 2 or 3. Certainly they've had 3 or 4 of the Dutch team.
Now Vicka causing problems for the Scottish defence here. Jordi belted it across, but offside against Jordi when the ball was played to him. You've got to applaud Vicka's honesty in a way there. I think that second challenge as he weaved into the penalty area, a few players would have gone down here on.
Vicka's been very, very impressive. He's probably seen that he's still in with a great chance there to set something up, but he's been very impressive, Vicka. I mean, I saw him play for Blackburn once or twice, and he looks as if he didn't over-fancy our Premiership. But certainly on the evidence of today, he's looked smashing. He's looked like another great left-sided midfield player they had in the European match, Arnold Muren.
There's Kluivert, his first touch of the ball. Still only 19, incredibly. Collins, nice bit of skill on the ball by him. And I think Scotland will have impressed a lot of observers by what they've produced so far in this game. The bookmakers gave them, well, no hope really, as someone said. About as much chance as finding Marilyn Monroe living with Elvis Presley in a bedsit in Rotherham was the bookies' assessment of Scotland's chances of winning these championships. But they will have impressed and surprised quite a few so far. Here's Kluivert. Davids. Seedorf. And free kick quickly taken. De Boer. Oh, lovely. Just tempted Collins into the challenge, went round him, clipped it in towards Seedorf. That's out. Goal kick. Now, what do you make of Scotland's performance so far on?
Very well organised. They rode their luck in the first 10 or 15 minutes. They've looked to have a good belief about themselves. And I always thought it was a good fixture for them, playing Holland first match. You know, I always felt that they'd be psyched up for this one. Villa Park was a good venue for them. You know, it enables their fans to add the atmosphere, and it has been a great atmosphere. It's at the moment you sense that both sets of fans are now looking more as spectators than supporters. They're both wondering which side's going to come out on top, and that's quite a hard. You know, there's no obvious one at the moment, no obvious winner.
No, it's a hard one to call midway through the second half. In fact, one of the other times Scotland have ever played an international fixture at Villa Park, they beat England 1-0 to win the British Championship back in 1922. They've taken a little bit of encouragement from that ancient statistic. There's Gordon Jury for them. So that's another goal kick. Is this to end, like so many of the opening games in these championships, as a draw? Well, at the moment, concentration is on the halfway line again, where there's going to be another substitution made. De Boer is the player who's coming off here, and his place will be taken by Aaron Winter.
That's a surprising one, that. I mean, I must admit, I think Aaron Winter's an excellent player. You know, a little bit surprised he wasn't in the original lineup, but De Boer for me has been excellent.
Winter, who plays his club football in Italy for Inter Milan, on in place of De Boer. So both teams have made 2 out of the 3 allowed substitutes. Now McKimmy's gone down holding his knee after that challenge on Jordi, but players gone on. Jury and Bohada battling. Ooh, that was a dodgy-looking ball by Bohada with Spencer lurking, but he got away with it. And finds Vicka. This looks a good attack for Holland. They've got a lot of orange shirts forward here, but what a poor ball, and surprisingly, by a man who's had a very good game, Richard Vicka. pushed on to Spencer and back to McAllister, who was blocked, surely. Yes. Vichka, having already been cautioned, should beware of too many more challenges like that. McAllister and McCall over the ball for the free kick. Jury trying to find a bit of room, edge of the penalty area. Spencer is up there, so is Collins. Comes back to McCall, or does it? Yeah, he made sure it was his. McKinley. Collins. Forced through to McAllister. And out to Jury. Couldn't quite find Spencer on the penalty spot for Cox's clearance. McKinley. Wasn't the easiest ball for Stuart McKimmie. 20 minutes to go here at Villa Park, and it's still goalless between Holland, who were early favourites for these championships once they'd qualified by beating the Republic of Ireland in the Anfield playoff. Germany have taken over as favourites, with most of the bookmakers since, of course, and Scotland, ranked one of the biggest of all the outsiders. But Scotland have matched Holland in many respects today. Have kept a clean sheet so far, and of course a few problems to the Dutch defence themselves. And I think Scotland can take huge encouragement from their performance so far, but you have to keep stressing so far. McKinley. Good ball. Well, that wasn't, I'm afraid. I know one of the problems that hitting the Dutch coach feared was the fatigue that his players, particularly the Ajax players, who played something like 70-odd games this season, would be feeling coming into these championships. Not quite such a problem for Craig Brown, of course, although if you play in the Scottish League or the English League, you're always going to feel tired come the beginning of June. And also you've got to pace yourself with 3 games in 9-10 days, and then the possibility of quarter-finals, semi-finals after that.
I wondered if that was the reason De Boer was substituting. You know, looking at that, whether he's saying, all right, we've got to try and spread the load a little bit. I've got a first-class replacement in Aaron Venter, and there's a possibility, you know, from the Dutch point of view, they'd like to think that they've probably 4 or 5 games at least to play in the tournament.
McKinley goes forward for Scotland and finds Spencer. Scotland's throw. And McAllister might try and haul this one in. Sometimes Henry comes forward for these, but not at this point of the game. 18 minutes to go. It was short anyway, and McAllister has it back again. And does well to lose Vichka. But he hasn't lost it. Vichka wins the ball back again. He's got Kluivert and Bergkamp, and picks out Bergkamp, and on it goes to Seedorf. Danger here for Scotland. Seedorf lines up the shot. Good block by Calderwood and Henry.
That was a sharp, incisive break. You just wonder whether Seedorf might have shown a little bit more and gone at Calderwood. Calderwood was 1v1, last man. You thought, just go on, gamble a little bit.
Well, on corner count alone, Holland will claim they are moral victors here. But the scoreline at the top of the screen is the one that matters, and that still shows 0-0. 17 minutes to go. Boyd getting up well to clear the corner. Winter gets his first touch, the most capped player in their squad. It's his 55th appearance for them this today. Used to be a teammate of Paul Gascoigne's at Lazio in Italy. Kluivert knocking it in long. Bergkamp tries to get there. Gorham fists it away, and McKinley completes the job. But a dangerous little period for Scotland as Holland press. Reisiger. Now Davids. Scotland marking tightly in their half. Not many options. why he tried to open it up with that ball out to the right, and they've got away with it. Vichka, who switched from left to right wing, and a good-looking cross. And McKimmie made a mess of his attempted clearance, and Henry to Scotland's rescue. Spencer. No foul by Bohada. They looked it from here, but the referee said play on. Winter. Seedorf.
Just quickened a little bit, haven't they, the Dutch team, in the last few minutes? It looks like the tempo a little bit.
In it goes to Kluivert, but the header falls where Henry wanted it to fall. And that's a good first-time ball by Henry. Just too much pace, I think, for Dury. Reisiger covering brilliantly. Well, these are the moments when games are won and lost. The last 15 minutes, when fatigue is bound to play a part. An error now could be crucial. Davids for Holland. Seedorf on the right, but couldn't take it in his stride. Well, they're going to enjoy themselves irrespective of the outcome by the looks of it. The Scottish fans, noticeably and unusually for them, quiet at the moment. This is a good period by Holland. Jordi going forward for them. Foul by Henry, free kick, and in a dangerous, dangerous position, I'm afraid. Countless candidates to take this one. Vichka has taken most of them so far, left-footed.
I've been surprised Bergkamp hasn't got involved on some of these, you know. I mean, in his Ajax days, this was his scenario.
No Ronald Koeman in the Dutch side these days. Gordon will be grateful for that. But what can Seedorf and Vichka conspire between them? Seedorf hits it, it flicked off the wall. Holland have a corner. A little variation and partly successful. Keep concentrating is the message from Gorham to his defenders, and he's spot on. This is a worrying little period for Scotland. Kluivert just missed his attempted header. Dury will get it away, but he was even calmer than that. He let it go behind for a goal kick. Well played, Gordon Dury. Kluivert feared he would miss these championships altogether after his injury, and of course that charge of death by reckless driving, over which he feared a jail sentence. He didn't get that in the end. Now a third substitution about to be made, and Vichka, who's had a very good game, is being replaced by Philippe Cocu, who plays for PSV Eindhoven and will fit into that left midfield position. Made his debut in the recent friendly against Germany.
You're right about that. I think Vichka's been another one of the stars. I think he was absolutely brilliant.
Strangely enough, two of their most effective players are back on the bench in De Boer and Vichka. Scotland won't be unhappy about that. Calderwood wins it back for Scotland. Well played. Hendry. Calderwood coming forward again. Spencer. And a little flick by Collins. The Scottish fans enjoy that little touch of class. And here he is again. A long ball for McKinley down the right. That's a deliberate handball, was it? Did he touch that with his hand?
I'm going to say I think it was a deliberate attempt at a handball. I'm not so sure he actually made contact with it.
Throw in it is. McCall. Another claim for handball, but Scotland again are turned down. It's a good ball for Winter. And Bergkamp in a very deep role now, which is where he would have preferred to start the game, of course. And with Kluivert on, perhaps he can revert to that a little bit more. And he's made a good run down the centre here, but the ball didn't come into him quickly enough. Jordi. Good ball for Seedorf. McCall bars the way to goal. And Calderwood with the clearance. Scotland have come back well again after that little period of Dutch pressure. Just over 10 minutes remaining. And McAllister cleaned it up nicely there for Scotland, and Henry was caught there by Kluivert as he played the ball away. That was either accidental, to be kind to him, or a bit naughty if it wasn't an accident. Sort of thing that players hate when they play the ball forward like this and the outstretched boot of the forward catches them.
Accidental. Certainly wasn't an intentional one, that. The ball's in the loose and you see Kluivert, both legs are outstretched. Henry's just a little bit unfortunate that he's wrapped him across the ankle, but it's an accidental one.
He's all right. Scotland's Rob Roy figure, Colin Henry's even got the Thistle emblem on his wallpaper at home, apparently. A fiercely patriotic Scot. Is there any other kind? 10 minutes to go. And the pride of Scotland, the flower of Scotland, as the supporters are singing now, have not wilted here against one of the world's top teams. But they've still got 10 minutes to hold out, or do even better. Seedorf beaten by Boyd this time. Bergkamp got round Boyd, and that came off McCall. It'll be a corner. Strangely enough, when you think of all the great Scottish players down the years, the Dalglishes, the Laws, Ian St John, got to mention him, Graham Souness and the like, Alan Hansen, this has been the least fancied Scottish team to come into a major tournament. I wonder if they might just do a lot better than anyone is expecting. That's a dangerous looking corner, but Jury got it away from danger. Still, Holland continue to press and enjoy most of the possession. Seedorf trying to open up Scotland's left flank. Boyd was equal to it. Now Spencer. And then the long ball forward finds no one really in a Scottish jersey in a challenging position. McAllister tried to pressurise the keeper, but he was calm. Davids for Holland. Kluivert. Jordi. Good play by the other substitute, Poku. Jordi again. Bergkamp far post, and he was never allowed to get the ball in that far. McKinley's challenge, but Holland have another corner.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised every time McKimmy's confronted by Jordi. He pushed him in field. He doesn't look comfortable, Jordi, when they push him out onto his left foot. I would have thought they should have just edged him away into the corner flag areas now.
12 corners to 1, Holland have. And that's a dangerous ball in, and Henry got it back off his own line virtually, and Calderwood hacks it clear, and Scotland have survived another very, very near thing. But here's Seedorf lining up the shot, and it deflected away off McAllister for a corner.
It really is incredible the number of opportunities that Holland have had from corners, when it's usually the result of overhitting, missing Henry out, hitting a deep one. I don't think this will change again. I think they'll aim to the spot where Henry isn't. Henry's at the near post now against... oh, they've gone short.
And to Scotland's great relief as well.
Very poor delivery there.
But still, Holland have possession, and Scotland have all their men in their own half now. And even the defender Bohada has come forward. Whips one in towards Bergkamp, reaches Kluivert on the far post. It wasn't a very good cross. McAllister's clearance, however, has gone to Davids. That was a good challenge, but still the ball seems inevitably drawn to Holland now, like iron filings to a magnet. Seedorf taking on McAllister. Henry's cross is clear. Played back by Winter. That was handball, I think, by Kluivert. Yes.
You just wondered, I mean, national heroes tonight, if they can hang on to this one, their draw against one of the favourites. Scotland will be more than happy. You just wonder now whether that's the mentality, or whether, in fact, the Dutch team are, in fact, another substitution now. But whether the Scotch philosophy now is, let's hang on for these closing stages.
Craig Burley, the Chelsea player, comes on to replace Stuart McKimmie. Round with unhappy memories for him, because last season, playing for Chelsea here against Manchester United in the FA Cup semi-final, he made a couple of crucial errors. So all 6 substitutes have been used now, if I've kept count. 5 minutes to go. And the one statistic that matters most of all is there at the top of your screen. Netherlands 0, Scotland 0. And if it stays that way, I think you have to put this down as a major, major triumph by Scotland. But it's a big if, as Kluivert comes forward, missed his header, and Scotland live again. Davids plays it in, that's a good ball too. Seedorf shot! Dear, oh dear, that's led a charmed life, that goal today. It really has. Someone up there smiling on Scotland.
Well, fortune favours the brave here. Seedorf turns in field, just gets a deflection off the shoulder. Another corner.
I think this will be corner number 13 for Holland. I hope that's not significant. Cocu drives it in over Henry's head, played back in, and Kluivert got the shot in, and again, and they've just got enough bodies in the way. Another corner. The pressure continues.
You know, the amazing thing is the number of times that the ball actually goes over a Scottish head from the first ball in.
Can Scotland hold on here against this enormous late pressure from Holland? 4 minutes to go, and Holland are really turning the screw now. A succession of corners and shots into the packed penalty area, but Scotland are holding out. And make no mistake, a draw here for Scotland will be a tremendous result. But also, I've no doubt, the England party watching at home or in the hotel would regard as a very good result for England as well. It would mean that all 4 teams in the group have got off to a 1-point start to the championships.
It would also mean, of course, Alan, they'll be facing a very much a pumped-up Scotland on Saturday.
Gorham's clearance, picks out Boyd. Spencer. McAllister. Well played, Scotland. Good stuff. A long ball for Jury to chase. And the throw-in greeted with a roar from the Scottish end as though the ball had gone into the back of Holland's net. They recognise the fact that that's taken pressure off their defenders, and my goodness, they need a bit of a break. McKinley. Just keep the ball in the corner now will be the instruction. Keep it in this half anyway. Jury's doing well. Did exactly the right thing. About another 20 seconds has just ticked away. Another throw in, but significantly the ball is still in Holland's half. Scotland keep their concentration and get a point that maybe the neutral observers would regard as not being just because of the number of corners and opportunities Holland have had. But I think Scotland's endeavour and commitment and spirit, and in no small measure their good football, deserves some reward today. Here's Spencer. Maybe the reward will be even bigger than 1 point, who knows? Burley's header back in. Players looking tired now, but not Kluivert with that little back healer. Jordi. Kluivert again. Opens it out for Bergkamp on the right. Aaron Winter in support for him. tried the cross, and Collins calm as you like. Oh yes, I like that. To show that kind of composure at this stage of the game in your own penalty area, you've got to be some player. Brilliant stuff, Collins. Well, impressive or what, Ron?
He's had an excellent game. I think that he and McAllister, particularly in possession, have been excellent.
But Holland get it back again. We're into the last minute, the last 30 seconds, in fact. Oh, good tackle. Collins again. Spencer goes in hard, but Davids has it for Holland. The Scottish fans want to hear that final whistle. The Scottish players do as well. Davids. Another 1-2 too many perhaps by Holland, and that's a foul surely. No, not given. Davids tries to set it up for Winter, and the shot was rather wild, and I felt Scotland should have had a free kick anyway before that.
Yeah, it might be a little warning for them that the game's not over. It almost is, but it's not quite, and let's mess about too much on the edge of your own box. Certainly cracked that Winter, but miles wide.
Stoppage time being played at Villa Park. No goals, plenty of entertainment, and Scotland perhaps seconds away from what will be a tremendous result. It'll be the first time in a long time they've not been beaten in the opening match of a major tournament, and they'll take great heart from that. And Jury working hard to try and win it back, but Holland come forward again. 5 orange shirts in this attack. Yordi in possession for them. Winter. And now Bergkamp. 3 in the box for Holland. But blue shirts wherever you look. Set up for Davids. And as long as they have to keep shooting from that range, Scotland have done their job.
Yeah, that's the frustration creeping, and that's twice. Once with Davids, one with Winter, whereas they could have put another pass into a player in a better position than that. But that's all credit to the Scots. They forced Holland into that sort of frustration.
The Scottish fans believe the job is almost done now. A minute and a half of stoppage time. McCall. Well, hard and under pressure from Jury, and it came off the Dutch player. Scotland's throw. I don't think they'll be in a hurry to take this. Jury will work it into that corner again. And gets another corner. The old pro using his head. And it's the noise of the Scottish fans you can hear around Villa Park now. And the Dutch supporters seem to have accepted their fate. McKinley almost gifted one of them a large football smack in the mouth as he hammered that one behind the goal just to kill a bit more time. All eyes on the referee. Only he knows how long there is to go now. There is no more time to go. There's the final whistle. And Scotland have opened their European campaign with a very creditable draw here against Holland, the champions of Europe from 1988, and the team fancied by many to win the title again this year. Scotland showed true Braveheart spirit today. They got bodies in the way when danger threatened. They had that brilliant early save by Gorham. They had a little bit of luck, it has to be confessed, particularly when Holland surely should have had a penalty when Collins handled a goal-bound shot on the line. But I think Scotland deserved to go away from Villa Park with something, and that's exactly what they've got. One very precious point indeed. And now the stage switches to Wembley on Saturday, and the clash they've all been waiting for, Scotland against England. They've got a few days to look forward to that and enjoy what they've achieved here today. The final score at Villa Park, Holland 0, Scotland 0. More news, views and interviews right after this break.
So the result here at Villa Park, Holland 0, Scotland 0. And let me show you how Group A looks after 2 games played. Well, it's England and Switzerland leading the way on the account of their 1-1 draw at Wembley. And Holland and Scotland also on 1 point. My word, it's all to play for, I must say. And they're just shouting out here, I can hear them at the far end, bring on England, Alex.
Yeah, not
That's
surprised.
the Scottish fans, of course.
I think they're on their way down now. But a very promising performance by Scotland. The second half, the first 15 minutes showed good belief. I thought the tempo of this Dutch game stopped a bit, went down, but towards the end they came again, and it was for a 0-0 game, it was a very entertaining match.
I have to say, Ian, that you were the most noisy, shall we call it, in this studio this afternoon.
Yes, get a bit carried away there. I just think it was a great performance by Scotland. You know, I think all the Scots will be proud of the team today. Didn't let anybody down.
Yes, Glenn, your overall view?
Tremendous performance, you know. They rode their luck a little bit at times, but they had an extra special spirit about them today. And sometimes you earn that luck when you have that spirit. And I thought it was an excellent performance from them, you know, professional performance, very good.
Well, you do need luck, don't you? I think, in fact, we're ready for an interview down here. And I think it's Gabriel Clark, and I think he's with Craig Brown, a happy Craig Brown.
Craig, you've had some fine results in qualifying, but how does this one compare?
Well, I think we fought very well. We're organised and we fight hard. We realise that perhaps we're not as gifted as the Dutch team. There were spells in the game when we played reasonably well, but by and large we were defending. But we were organised to do that, and I think great credit to the defence. It's a better result than our usual opening one in tournaments.
It's about time you had a bit of luck, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we did have luck, but I think you've got to credit the defenders. Andy Gorham in goal had a great save early on, and we defended exceptionally well. I don't think it was all down to luck. I thought we were organised, we handled the aerial threat very well, all the set pieces we defended exceptionally well, but we didn't do particularly well from middle to front. We'll have to brush up on that.
Always looking to improve, that's good to see. But what did you make of the Dutch? Because they're, what, 9-2 second favourites? And your way out at 80-1 or whatever?
Well, I would keep them second favourites. I think they played exceptionally well. They didn't get a break in front of goal. I'm sure that in different circumstances they might have scored goals. So the Dutch, to me, were very impressive. There's no question of that. And I would keep them second favourites in the tournament. I think they'll get better, and hopefully we'll get better also.
Just finally, it sets you up wonderfully, doesn't it, for Wembley and England?
Well, I think our fans are pleased with the fighting performance. That's our hallmark. We know that we can fight, and we know that we can eke out a result when it's required. We just have to get that extra bit and score a goal. And I think if we got a goal, it would lift the whole camp and perhaps give us the edge that might make us manage to qualify.
But you've got a point. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well done indeed. That's the problem. They can't score a goal, can they?
Well, we're worried at the start of the tournament, but they've got other qualities and they have a good shape about them, and the players have a great team spirit.
Yeah. Ian, looking ahead to Saturday?
Well, I'm looking forward to Saturday. I think that the English players watching that and English supporters watching that will be thinking, well, this is not as easy as the papers were making out a couple of weeks ago. This is going to be a tough game for England.
And the last view, Glenn?
Yeah, I've always thought the Scotland game for England was going to be a tough one, but on the back of this result, it's going to be even harder.
But this afternoon, the story has been of a brave Scottish performance against Holland. What else would you expect? Typified by keeper Andy Gorham. Because this is one of the great reflex saves, and not only helped get rid of those Scottish keeper jokes, but inspired his team to a marvellous point against one of the favourites. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.